All right, everybody, welcome to the show. Welcome. So we just had Labor Day the other day, and we were off for a show, but I'm happy to be back with you guys. There's a lot of stuff to talk about that piled up while I was gone. So we now have 3 different states that are moving on trying to disqualify Trump from being on the ballot in 2024. And, of course, they're referencing Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. We're going to talk about that. I'll give you all the details. We also have Tucker Carlson doing a special interview accusing Barack Obama of being gay, always laser focused on the serious issues that Tucker Carlson guy is. And then later on, we have Joe Rogan versus Bill Maher on the issue of Trump versus Biden. We have something that Ben Shapiro and I actually agree on. That should be a fun segment. And then we also have a right-wing TV host was potentially duped by a fake AI Trump, and they conducted a 17-minute interview with, again, what could be just a brazen prank. It's actually debatable at the moment. We still don't really know exactly what happened, so I'll present that to you guys, and you guys can tell me what you think about it. But we also have the ex-leader of the Proud Boys, Enrique Tarrio. He was just sentenced to 22 years for his role in January 6th. People on the right are flipping out over that, and they're flipping out because they say, look, he wasn't even at the Capitol on January 6th, so how could you hit him with such a harsh sentence? Well, don't worry. I'll break down everything for you. So we got all that and much, much more. And you guys know the drill. Everybody do me a big favor. Please click subscribe to the channel. We're trying to continue growing that subscriber base. Like I always tell you, I'm in a race with my wife. I'm trying to stay ahead of breaking points. But truth be told, they're gaining about 20,000 subs a month, whereas here we're only gaining like 10 now or something like that. So hook a brother up. Keep me ahead of my wife so I have bragging rights. That is super duper important. And click that bell icon so I get a notification every single time a video drops. And by the way, massive thank you to everybody who supports the show on Patreon. I've never had a conversation with an advertiser. If you'd like to support the show, you can do it in the Patreon link below, or also you could tip on YouTube with the thanks button. Again, you guys keep the show going. You mean the world to me. All right, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it here. So ABC News has this really interesting article that I wanted to share with you. State election officials prepare for efforts to disqualify Trump under the 14th Amendment. And then they say New Hampshire, Michigan, and Arizona are bracing for lawsuits. So right now we have at least 3 different states where lawsuits are going to be brought, effectively saying this guy is disqualified from running for office because he tried to do an insurrection or do a rebellion, coup, whatever you want to refer to it as. So they say efforts to keep former President Donald Trump off the 2024 ballot under the 14th Amendment are gaining momentum as election officials in key states are preparing for or starting to respond to legal challenges to Trump's candidacy. The argument to disqualify Trump from appearing on primary or general election ballots in 2024 boils down to Section 3 of the U.S. Constitution's 14th Amendment, which states that an elected official is not eligible to assume office if that person, quote, engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the United States or had, quote, given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof, unless they are granted amnesty by 2/3 vote of Congress. The argument that's being made here is that actually the default is that we're going to say he's guilty, and the only way he'd be able to run is if 2/3 of Congress votes to allow him to run, to like overrule this. It's up in the air legally. It might be on sketchy grounds. And again, the thing I keep coming back to is, don't you need a conviction over insurrection before you can effectively disqualify him? We all know he spearheaded January 6th and he was in charge and, he had his little minions do the dirty work, but he was definitely the head of the snake. We all know that. But if you don't get him legally on insurrection, which he's not even charged with, by the way, he's got 91 charges against him. None of them are insurrection. I think he's guilty of the 91 charges, but none of them are insurrection. So how will this break down? Will they say, since you didn't get him on insurrection, he's allowed to run? Or, is there some precedent for taking people down without the conviction of insurrection? I'm more on that in a minute because there's some interesting facts about this. If you're thinking, oh my God, this is a novel legal theory, this has never happened before, that's actually not true. It's not true. So hold for that. Several advocacy groups have said that Trump's actions on January 6, 2021 fit that criteria, that he directly engaged in an insurrection. The legal theory that has been pursued unsuccessfully against a few other elected Republicans arguing their actions around January 6th and support for overturning the 2020 election results amounted to the disqualifying behavior. Trump has denied any involvement in the attack on the Capitol. Quote, Joe Biden, Democrats, I think this is Trump's voice. I got to do Trump's voice for you. Joe Biden, Democrats, and never Trumpers are scared to death because they see polls showing President Trump winning in the general election. Trump campaign spokesperson Stephen. Oh my God, I did the Trump voice and it wasn't even Trump. I'm wasting all of my good Trump impressions. The people who are pursuing this absurd conspiracy theory and political attack on President Trump are stretching the law beyond recognition, much like the political prosecutors in New York, Georgia, and D.C. There's no legal basis for this effort. I'll leave that up to you guys to determine if you think there is a legal basis. The push to disqualify Trump under this constitutional clause gained more traction when two members of the Conservative Federalist Society, William Baud and Michael Stokes Paulson, recently supported the idea in the pages of the Pennsylvania Law Review. Following the Baud and Paulson article, retired conservative federal appeals judge J. Michael Luddig and Harvard law professor Lawrence Tribe made the same argument in The Atlantic. So in other words, the point that they're making is you have liberal legal experts as well as very conservative legal experts who are saying, no, I think this is legit. I think this is legit, and I think he should be disqualified from running. Now remember, Trump used the Federalist Society to handpick his judges, the ones that he put on the court. Virtually every conservative judge in this country goes through the Federalist Society. And this is the Federalist Society or certain members of the Federalist Society coming out and saying, I don't think Trump can be president. I don't think Trump can be president. Look, it's already the case. I think the Supreme Court is going to hear something on this. So what do I think is going to go down? Look, to be honest with you guys, again, I do think what's most likely is without some sort of a conviction over insurrection, this isn't going to stand. That's my guess. But having said that, I do want to share this with you. There is, some case law history. So on this issue, somebody says, it's not a novel legal theory. 6 officials were barred under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment a century and a half ago and a participant in Trump's insurrection was disqualified from office last year. I remembered that. I'm trying to remember which state it was in, but there was some elected official. I think it was actually even in front of a conservative judge. And the conservative judge said, no, you're barred from holding even some sort of state office because you were at January 6th and participated in January 6th. And that legal standing still stands to this day. That legal ruling still stands to this day. So it's not like it's a totally novel legal theory. It's not like there's no case law or precedent. There is. It's just a much higher profile example. And again, like I said, it's going to depend on which direction the courts go. Me personally, I would love to see more detailed legal arguments on both sides of this to really form, an opinion fully. I wouldn't reject it out of hand. It doesn't seem insane to me that he could be potentially disqualified, at least from the ballot in some states. But I won't hold my breath for it, particularly because my gut says, hey, if you don't have some sort of a conviction for an insurrection crime, then can they really make the argument and have it stick and have it stand? I don't know. And again, he's charged with 91 crimes. None of them are actual insurrection. So if he's not being charged with insurrection and there's no conviction over insurrection or something related to insurrection, I sort of hope the legal theory sticks, but at the same time, I'm a little skeptical that it will, even though I don't think it's a crazy legal theory at all. Now the ball is truly rolling, man. Like I said, you have 3 states, New Hampshire, Michigan, and Arizona, that are bracing for lawsuits on this exact issue, and you have the Supreme Court, to one extent or another, is going to hear stuff related to this issue. So the conversation is real, it's happening, and we'll have to wait and see. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.